Each year, the Rotary International Club of Manchester sponsors students to travel abroad for a year or parts of a year during or immediately after their high school graduation. It's a two-way street as well. Students from other countries are sponsored by local Rotary clubs back home and come here. Currently at Burton Academy in Manchester, a boy from Hungary is studying here and living with a host family. That same host family, the Sawaluskas, have a daughter, Natalie, who's following in the footsteps of her older siblings and spending a year abroad in Brazil. Before she left, she spoke about looking forward to the experience along with 3 other students who had previously been to Brazil as part of the Rotary Youth Exchange Program.
I first heard about the Rotary Program because my siblings both did short-term exchanges. My sister went to Italy and my brother went to Argentina. And they loved it, and I thought it was really cool. And then I heard from a few kids at BBA who said they went on long-term exchanges, and it just sounded like a really cool experience to travel before college. And so I looked into it, and I thought it was really interesting. I took Spanish throughout high school, and I kind of wanted to become fluent in Spanish, but as I started the process, I found that maybe it would be cooler to learn a new language. So I heard that there were more options to go to Brazil, and I figured Portuguese and Spanish are pretty similar. So then I figured, why not apply for Brazil? And one of the Rotary Exchange students from Brazil who's staying here talked to me and kind of persuaded me to choose Brazil as my first choice. So.
Natalie Johnson recently returned from Brazil. Michael Nolan and Jackson Rawson both did Rotary gap years between high school and college in Brazil.
I really liked being kind of like the new kid and the outsider in class the first couple days when I couldn't speak. I really liked learning the language. I really liked speaking the language. I really got along well with all of my families, and I still keep in touch with them. I made a good amount of friends while I was down there. They took me out to places that I probably wouldn't have seen if I was just down there by myself, which is really cool to see, get more of like a local perspective. And I thought it was cool. I thought it was just cool just like living a life down there. And not every day was like super exciting, but some days were just kind of days that happened, but it was cool just to see everything that I would kind of normally do here just from like an altered perspective down there.
I met a lot of amazing people that I will take with me for the rest of my life. I learned a new language, which was really something I wanted to do. It was definitely a goal in my life. I learned more about myself, which was part of why I chose to go on exchange. I felt like I wasn't ready to go to college because I didn't know enough what I wanted, or I didn't know at least enough of what I didn't want. So it helped me to learn just a little bit more about my goals. My families were amazing. I couldn't have asked for a better experience, I think.
So I lived in a city just south of Salvador called Itabuna. 200,000 people about, roughly, which wasn't too bad, but much different than Manchester, obviously. I would say my experience was pretty normal. I did a lot of traveling. I did as many trips as I could, Rotary sponsored trips down there. I also trained jiu-jitsu when I was down there during my free time. Met a lot of friends, and as a matter of fact, one of my good friends who's from Poland, who lived in the same city as me, is coming to Vermont next week, which is cool. So we obviously keep in touch still. I had 2 host families. The first host family I stayed with 6 months, and the second one was 4 months. Great host families. I loved both of them.
Long-term exchanges last a full academic year, and students attend local schools and live with multiple host families. Short-term exchanges last from several days to 3 months and are often structured as camps, tours, or homestays that take place when school is not in session. Katie Bove is a Spanish teacher at Burton who is also a Rotary Exchange student, and she shared her experiences with a group of current students.
It was an incredible experience. I always joke that one of my favorite days of the school year here is when Rotary comes and promotes the program, because I don't shut up. I just keep going on and on about how wonderful it is. It's a very well-organized club and program, so the students are very well taken care of. I always had people checking in on me. I also took part in the organized trips, the sponsored trips that Rotary offers. There were 3 when I was there. Lived with 3 families. Rotary does that. You don't stay with one family for the whole year. You change to try to get a different perspective. And My little host siblings, when I was there, are now having children and starting their families. So thanks to Facebook, I'm able to watch that happen, which is wonderful. And I just can't say enough great things about the program.
The experience of living overseas helped propel her into her career as a language teacher, she said. So far, all the local outbound kids have wanted to go as gap years, so their options tend to be limited, said Lynn Rawson, the president of the Rotary Club. She talked with us, along with Chris Nolan, also a Spanish teacher at Burn about how the program works and the impact it has had on students who take part in it and travel abroad.
Phil Arrett, Dr. Arrett, and Kathy Stone usually will come to BBA in about March, and they will present to the class. And Katie Bove usually will come and help as well, and Chris Nolan will gather together all of the language students, and I think you put it out to the whole school, right?
We do.
Yeah. And anybody who's interested, well, the language classes get it, but anybody else wants to come, Kathy and Phil will describe the whole Rotary program and how it works. Through that, then kids will submit, put on paper in their name and their contact information that they want more information. Phil will then call them back, bring their parents in, and they start talking about the program.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we have an interest in getting kids to travel abroad. That's our ultimate goal, really. So that's why we invite Rotary in. And we don't invite anyone else in other than Rotary, because Rotary is nonprofit. So we're not using the kids' school time to try and sell them something, which I think is important. So yeah, when Rotary comes in every year to give their introduction and let the kids know that the program is available, our job then is to assist in any way and any follow-up to answer any questions that the kids may have. Although, of course, Kathy and Phil do a phenomenal job of that. One thing that we always stress is that, again, since they're not trying to sell anything, you can ask for more information, and if you decide at any point that it's not for you, they'll stop calling you. You won't be harassed into trying to do it. Primarily for the cultural experience and the immersion, the linguistic immersion. So it gives kids a chance to try other things outside of school. They're not required to spend an inordinate amount of time studying, so they can get involved in other things in the community.
Meanwhile, on this end, the Rotary Club is always looking for possible host families. If interested, such families are invited to contact the Rotary Club to learn more about this. For the GNET TV News Project, I'm Andrew McKeever.